imagine you're walking through a fantasy kingdom and you see a guy in a ragged cloak chilling in a field yelling at sheep. He looks like he doesn't even know what day of the week it is. Side characters are walking past him laughing, calling him a bum gooner, treating him like an absolute NPC who's just there to fill up background space. And honestly, the entire kingdom is completely convinced that his biggest achievement in life is not getting stepped on by a horse. While these arrogant nobles and high-ranking knights are out here flexing their mid-tier swordsmanship and acting like they're the main characters of the universe, they are completely blind to reality. They think he's checking the weather, but he's actually calculating the exact trajectory needed to drop a literal meteor on their entire family tree. Boom! Because our MC isn't just an ordinary shepherd. He is gatekeeping the most illegal broken Omega-level wizard build this world has ever seen. We are talking about casual reality-bending magic, but he's just out here living that quiet cottagecore life because he literally cannot be bothered to erase the continent before breakfast. The sheer level of disrespect he tolerates from these goofy villains is insane, but the moment someone touches his sheep, it is over. The aura activates, the eyes start glowing, and the power scaling is thrown directly into the trash can. In today's recap, we are watching a literal god disguised as a farmer absolutely violate the expectations of everyone who ever dared to look down on him. Let's get straight into how this ordinary shepherd absolutely violated the power scaling. The story begins with a kid striking a dramatic pose with his arms crossed. Lil Bro thinks he's from JoJo's. He looks straight and boldly declares, "I am a wizard." He's got the cape and confidence. But if you look closely, his legendary magic staff is literally just a tree branch he found on the side of the road. He gets into a fierce playground battle with a local girl, screaming, "Monster, begone," while she fully commits to the roleplay with a solid, "I shall have you for dinner." The kid decides that words aren't working, so he winds up his legendary, unenchanted wooden weapon. As he delivers a direct, physical strike right to her forehead, bringing a whole new meaning to the term, casting a spell. The poor girl is left rubbing her head, crying out, "Why did you really hit me?" Meanwhile, look at our Lil Bro. This absolute menace is standing there with his arms crossed, smiling like an absolute Chad. He hits her with the flawless logic of, because monsters always lose to wizards. The aggressive playground session is suddenly cut short as an wise old man has just appeared in the foreground, watching their chaotic sibling energy unfold. It turns out to be Elder Labus, rocking a massive white beard and a walking cane. He's accompanied by some local villagers and smiles warmly. "It's nice to see you kids up and about so early in the morning." Seizing his chance to talk to the village authority, the kid looks up with those big, innocent eyes and asks the ultimate question, "How do I become a wizard?" But Elder Labus immediately drops the smile, looks down, and hits him with the coldest line, "I'm afraid that's not up to you, my boy." The elder drops a massive lore dump, explaining that wizards inherit mysterious, ancestral powers and dominate society's upper ranks as elite nobles or knights. He completely crushes Lil Bro's childhood dreams by concluding that you can't just become a wizard by wishing for it. The tone instantly shifts as the adult villager pulls the elder aside, looking completely serious. He asks, "Anyway, are the rumors true?" And Elder Labus turns around, utterly clueless, asking, "What rumors?" We see the man looks down, sweating bullets as he explains the situation. Apparently there's been a monster sighting. The lady next to him looks like she's praying they don't get eaten. Elder Labus shuts down any hope of it being a prank. He looks dead serious and confirms the worst. "Yes, it is true." The elder says a guy named Rob ran into it at the village entrance last night. It's a massive, glowing purple panther the size of an entire building, completely wrapped in dark shadows. But hey, the elder tells everyone not to panic. Why? Because the village chief already left for the city to call in a professional wizard for backup. While he says this, a worried mom hugs the little blonde girl tightly. The mom looks down, sweating and nervous, trying to convince herself everything will be fine. We see she pats the little girl on the head and gives her the ultimate parent warning. Elder Labus reaches out and grabs his staff, leaving them with one final, brutal reality check. Everyone, be careful. A monster cannot be defeated without magic. No magic equals you are cooked. The villager sweats even more, making sure the defense plan is in motion, asking, "Has the entire village been warned?" The helper responds, "Yes, of course." But wait, Elder Labus suddenly gets a look of pure dread on his face. He stares blankly and asks the absolute worst question you could hear in a crisis. Who do you mean? Remember the guy the village forgot about? Turns out he's just a shepherd living out in the Hizaril Hills. And honestly, his sheep look like they have a better work ethic than him. Look at this fluffy rabbit just vibing in the grass. Finally, we get a name drop, the introduction of our MC. Here he is, utilizing a live sheep as a premium mattress while his dog does all the actual work. He wakes up looking completely unbothered, chewing on a piece of grass like he doesn't have a care in the world. We see our boy is completely surrounded by sheep and doing absolutely nothing. Living the dream, honestly. He stares off into the distance, complaining about how it's always the same view. Bro, you are looking at a beautiful mountain range. Count your blessings. He continues his inner monologue of despair, whining that it's the same tasks too, while looking at his perfectly peaceful farmhouse. After that, we see our boy starts getting hit with that isolation depression, thinking, with only sheep for company, I might forget how to talk to people at this rate. Boom! Right on time, we see our boy's eye goes wide as his peaceful afternoon is brutally interrupted. The village elder pulls up out of nowhere, standing over him like a disappointed dad, scolding him. The sun is still high in the sky, and here you are idling the day away. The old man gets right in his face, completely offended, asking, have you no manners? As our boy just lays there with a blank smile, while the elder asks if he's still holding a grudge over what happened back in the day. The old man coughs to clear his throat and brings up the ultimate scam. You sought to steal my sheep away from me, claiming them as communal property? Our boy finally sits up and proudly owns it, saying, if you're referring to that, then yes. I'm not so kind-hearted as to share my mother's inheritance with the entire village. Safeguarding the bag at all costs. He tells the elder to cut the small talk, state his business, and get lost, making the old man completely lose his mind. The tone instantly changes as our boy gives him a cold, edgelord stare, telling him, just get on with it, old man. The elder stops playing around and then drops the heavy news. A monster has been sighted nearby. As our boy reacts with a confused, a monster, the old man explains it's a massive panther as big as a house and that a villager named Rob is currently warning the town. Meanwhile, our boy is just gently patting his sheep like nothing is wrong. Our boy keeps smiling and casually remarks, that sounds like quite a conundrum you have there. The elder is stunned and asks if he's not scared, pointing out that he's totally in the danger zone to be its first target. We see the elder looks at him like he's crazy, asking, throwing caution to the wind, are you? Before adding that the chief sent for a city wizard, so he needs to be careful. Our boy just goes right back to tending his fluffy sheep. Like bro, a house-sized killer panther is on the hunt, and our boy is treating it like a local weather report. Is he secretly a high-level wizard himself, or is he just trying to get a front-row seat to his own doom? After that, we see the elder tries to play the sweet grandfather card, claiming, I came to warn you as I was concerned for your safety. But our boy instantly sees right through the cap and fires back. Just say that you're worried about the sheep, not me. He starts wrapping up the conversation with zero respect, telling him, if you've said what you needed to say, I suggest you hurry on your way. And then, out of nowhere, he delivers the fatality. Your foul breath is stinking up the place. Oh boy, call an ambulance for the elder. He just got completely cooked. As we see the old man walks away huffing and puffing in absolute defeat while our boy just stands there proudly petting his sheep with a smug smile. Left alone with his thoughts, our boy starts pondering about the local threat, simply thinking, monsters. This explains that monsters are beasts that can wield a mysterious power called mana, while a sheep steps into the scene looking incredibly suspicious. Are we sure the sheep isn't the monster? After that, we see our boy starts walking again, thinking, a wizard will come all the way out to this isolated village. I suppose I would like to see one of these famed wizards. We see him strolling with his flock as he drops some logical shade. But if they are willing to answer the summons of a chief of a small village like us, I'm sure they can't be very powerful or important. Honestly, he's low-key spitting facts. Low-tier quests mean low-tier wizards. He ends the thought with a smirk, saying, still, I'd like to meet one. I wonder how strong they'll be. We see our boy is out here minding his business when his anime protagonist senses tingle, catching a sudden whiff of something in the air. Bro's eyes are locked in instantly. Standing tall against the sky, he drops the realization, it's blood. Someone definitely had a very bad day nearby. After that we see an ominous sunset over a quiet, creepy forest path as a gust of wind blows through. We see our boy starts tracking the scent, glancing left and right through the trees while tracking his target. He senses a movement, executing a sharp, dramatic head turn to see what's lurking in the shadows. As he looks down with a completely nonchalant look. And yep, there it is. He finds Elder Labus and another villager completely wrecked on the ground in a pool of blood. But instead of crying or screaming, our goat just looks at the carnage and delivers a cold, savage roast to the deceased. It would have done you some good to heed your own warning, old man. Bro has zero chill even for a corpse. He strikes a classic thinking pose, analyzing the damage. A wild animal couldn't have caused such a wound. Looks like those monsters he was wondering about are much closer than he thought. Our boy looks closely at the damage and confirms what we all already guessed. The old man was heavily tenderized by a monster. But suddenly his senses tingle again. He drops the casual look and hits us with the classic, dramatic face. We see a massive, dark, clawed foot with glowing yellow eyes embedded in its stomps onto the scene with a heavy thud. Our boy slowly turns his head around, entirely unbothered, just looking over his shoulder like someone interrupted his afternoon walk. A massive, terrifying panther-like shadowy beast covered in glowing yellow aura and multiple eyes manifests right in front of him. Honestly, the monster looks more stressed trying to intimidate him than our boy does just standing there. Suddenly, we cut away to the same kid we saw earlier ago. He's at a dinner table asking the big existential questions. How powerful are monsters? Can grown-ups defeat them? His dad shows up holding a plate of food, giving it to him straight while completely destroying the kid's faith in adults. Ordinary people won't even last a second. As the kid starts sweating about the future of their entire civilization while staring down at a stack of pancakes that looks way too well rendered for a crisis situation. We see the dad hits him with a reassuring pat on the shoulder, claiming the village chief is out fetching a high-tier wizard who will save the day and slay the beast. The kid's eyes light up with pure innocence as he asks, "So the wizard will keep us safe? They'll punish the bad monster." Little does he know, our boy is currently standing right in front of that exact nightmare. Bro, this dad is hyping up wizards like they're absolute gods, calling them powerful beings who command formidable magic. He claims a wizard can literally kill a monster with just a single word, while the scene cuts back to the massive monster roaring right in our boy's face. As he is just standing there looking mildly amused, giving the monster the ultimate, "Is that all you got?" look. He smirks, getting ready to test out that one-word kill theory himself. Our boy looks the giant beast dead in the eyes and casually says, "Die." Bold strategy, let's see if it pays off. The monster looks at him with confusion and jumps back instead of dropping dead. The beast lands on its feet, growling and showing off a mouthful of terrifyingly sharp teeth. We see our boy literally scratches his chin, completely unbothered, and says, "Meh, I guess it didn't work." Bro treats a life-or-death monster encounter like a glitching smartphone. The giant beast gets absolutely triggered by the disrespect and launches a massive, glowing, explosive attack right at him. As the attack rushes in, our boy opens his mouth to shout, "Stop!" Let's see if his vocal cords finally decide to carry the team. As the giant beast ignores the stop command completely, skidding across the dirt like a drift car to reposition itself. Our boy hits us with the ultimate realization face, casually admitting he knew the first trick wouldn't work, but he didn't expect the monster to ignore his second shout either. The frustrated beast slams the ground with an explosive, glowing smash, probably mad that it's being treated like an annoying pop-up ad. It glares at our boy, letting out a heavy growl, waiting for him to finally start sweating. But instead, our boy just casually taps his foot and slides back, entirely unfazed by the localized earthquake that just happened. He sighs, lets out a tiny puff of air, and mutters, "Okay then, time to switch from wizard mode to manual labor." He reaches down to the floor and grabs a small, ordinary pebble. Truly a weapon to surpass Metal Gear. We see he pulls out a literal sling with a massive smirk, declaring he will just do what shepherds do best. The monster senses the sudden disrespect of being threatened with a toy and lunges forward at maximum speed. But wait, our boy isn't just throwing rocks. He looks at the pebble, hits it with a voice command to get stronger, and the rock literally starts twitching and glowing. So the magic does work. He just needed to apply it to a projectile. As our boy locks in, whipping his sling back like he's trying to break the sound barrier with a single throw. His eye literally starts glowing gold with cheat code energy as he drops a verbal patch update on the rock, commanding it to get faster. He launches the rock, creating a giant circular shockwave that makes it look like he just fired a literal railgun. The sheer hype is so intense we get a dramatic zoom in on his sandal-clad foot gripping the dirt for dear life. He glares forward, adding one final buff to his attack with a cold, cut-through command. The pebble turns into a massive, spiraling laser beam of destruction, completely tearing up the ground beneath it. The giant beast is still mid-air, completely helpless as the beam flies straight towards its massive jaw. We see the attack connects directly with the beast's mouth, exploding into a shower of blood and energy rings. Talk about an aggressive dental appointment. The shockwave is so violent that the ground splits open, sending dust flying everywhere. But as the dust clears, the massive, glowing-eyed beast is still standing, looming over our boy with its terrifying teeth bared, ready for round two. Our boy hits us with a sinister, confident smirk, whispering the word, target, like a true MC about to drop a tactical nuke. But it turns out the first shot was just the setup, because an absolute unit of a boulder is suddenly floating right above the monster's path. He drops the mic with its head, as the massive rock comes crashing down, exploding the beast's skull into a spectacular fountain of red paint. As our boy casually turns his back on the carnage, looking back over his shoulder like he just finished a light afternoon jog instead of an execution. Standing next to the slimed beast, he casually notes that he's never used his sling on a monster before, which is a crazy thing to say after delivering a flawless one-shot kill. Now facing the worst part of every RPG quest, he looks at the bloody pile of meat and wonders, now, what to do with the body. With a bit of blood on his face, he sighs and realizes he just did the local village gooner some massive favor for free. We see a close-up of our boy's eye as he reveals his true identity. Turns out, our boy first realized he was a special snowflake exactly 8 years ago, while floating random logs. He was just 10 years old, sitting on the floor making the entire kitchen catch a vibe and levitate. Look at that innocent face. Our boy is completely thrilled, yelling, "Mother! Look, you won't believe it." He really thought he was about to get a gold star, as he proudly flexes his new hacks, shouting, "I can make things fly," while his mom just stands there facing away like an absolute NPC. He keeps digging his own grave, bragging that he can also spawn fire and a gust of wind. He dashes over, noting that this memory is forever locked in his brain as if it happened just yesterday. And here comes the plot twist. It was the first and last time his mom ever looked at him with pure, unadulterated rage. She is straight up tweaking. Our boy is instantly confused, as she casually snatches a floating log mid-air and hits him with his actual name. We see everything drops to the floor with a massive thud, as she kneels down, grips his shoulder and says, "I must tell you something. You just know a massive lore dump or a tragic backstory is about to hit." As his mom asks if he wants their peaceful, quiet life to stay that way, and our boy is just nodding along like, completely clueless about the emotional damage heading his way. She looks at the logs he was just levitating and makes him promise to absolutely never use this power again. Talk about a major nerf in the first episode. She stares at him, emphasizing that he especially cannot flex his powers in front of other people. She is sweating bullets, so you know the danger is real. We see our boy looks up completely confused, asking, "Why?" So she immediately hits him with a pop quiz. "Remember the story I told you about nobles and knights?" We get a dramatic close-up of his eye as he nods and says, "I do. It's time for the historical flashback, boys." Apparently, nobles are the direct descendants of Freya, a mythical race that literally saved humanity and ruled the entire world eons ago. The art goes absolutely hard here, with golden fluid pouring over a face. Very elite and aesthetic. But then we look at knights, who are basically just the diluted version whose noble bloodlines got mixed with ordinary humans over generations. It's a literal mid-tier class compared to the purebloods. Back to reality, Mom looks down at her cane, glad that he actually pays attention during history class. As she turns around to drop the real bombshell, explaining that even though both nobles and knights are technically wizards, they are definitely not treated equally. Boom! She reveals that our boy actually inherited his powers from his dad, who was a knight. And the worst part? The nobles in the outside world treat knights like straight-up slaves. The screen fades to black, as we see his dad looking like an absolute brooding badass in the background. After that, we see the mom locking eyes with our boy, dropping a massive gravity speech. She says, "So heed my words. No one must find out that you're a wizard. Real secret identity hours have officially begun." She softens up her intense aura and hits him with the ultimate soft launch question. Will you promise to keep it a secret? Fast forward to an 8 years later time skip. As we see our boy has officially leveled up, got a clean hair upgrade, and is standing in the kitchen staring out the window, keeping his word like an absolute king. He taps on the window curtain, thinking to himself that he has zero doubts about ever breaking this promise with his mom. Bro's completely locked in. We see a reflection of his glowing main character eyes through the glass as he reiterates that he has absolutely no intention of telling a single soul that he is a wizard. He pulls the curtains completely closed with a swift. His master plan: stay hidden in these mountains forever and live a quiet, drama-free life. But of course, the plot said absolutely not. Suddenly, someone starts aggressively breaking down his front door. We see our boy slowly opens the creaking wooden door, looking completely unbothered but serving pure visual excellence. He steps outside only to be met by a bunch of absolute units. The angry village NPCs have arrived, looking completely ready to square up over absolutely nothing. But instead of shaking in his boots, our boy just lets out a massive, disrespectful yawn right in their faces. The level of audacity is off the charts. As our boy stands his ground, completely unfazed, and asks the crowd, "You're saying I killed Labis?" He's out here wondering why he's getting randomly dragged into this chat. We see the main big guy instantly grabs him by the collar, screaming, "That's right, you shameless good-for-nothing." Bro really skipped the civilized discussion entirely. He doubles down on the wild accusations, yelling that our boy killed Elder Labis and fed him to the monster threatening their village. The mental gymnastics here are truly Olympic level. We get a close-up of the collar grab as our boy just tilts his head back. His patience is literally hanging by a thread right now. But instead of crying, our boy looks at the other sweating, guilty-looking villagers and casually drops the facts. "Well, I see why you'd want me to take the blame." He's completely reading them like a book. As he completely exposes their skill issue, explaining that all the young men were too scared of the monster to do anything, and now that a helpless old man is dead, they desperately need a scapegoat. He smiles right into the big guy's face, hitting them with the ultimate truth bomb. "You all are pointing your fingers at me to make yourselves feel less guilty." The big guy gets so triggered by the facts that his brain completely short-circuits. He winds up a massive fist, screaming, as he throws a massive punch, but our boy hits the cleanest matrix lean to completely dodge the hit. Bro didn't even drop his hands out of his pockets. As he lies back dodging, a single word flashes across his mind: magic. Oh boy, the forbidden power is itching to come out. We see our boy starts the counteroffensive by absolutely rocking a villager with a direct strike, thinking to himself that having a convenient skill is an absolute cheat code. He casually walks forward as the other angry NPCs rush him with wooden clubs, completely unbothered because anything he wants badly enough will literally come true in exchange for some mana. We get a close-up of our boy's mouth as he literally whispers the word, "Trip." He is out here playing a voice-activated video game while these gooners are playing for their lives. But instantly, one of the charging villagers faceplants into the dirt. Bro got tripped by air. The skill issue is honestly tragic. As our boy notes that it doesn't even have to be anything flashy as another villager swings wild and gets hit with a clean dodge. He realizes all he needs to do is use just enough of his broken power to control the situation. He hits a precise grab right on a villager's forearm, completely shutting down their attack before it even starts. With a blunt force strike, he smashes the guy's weapon right back into his face, leaving the NPC groaning. Our boy makes sure to keep it PG, ensuring he handles them without actually killing them, delivering a swift and smack combo to the next clone in line. We see the mob tries to jump him all at once, but our boy's movement speed is just too high for them to even register. The wooden clubs go flying into the sky as he completely disarms the entire squad. As we see our boy is standing over a field of folded bodies, casually dusting his hands off while flexing the fact that he successfully hid his wizard status for 8 whole years. He looks down with that ultimate side eye, telling the survivors they should probably go help Barry Labus instead of catching these hands. He looks at the remaining baddies and asks if they want some smoke too, but they immediately raise their hands like, "We just wanted to look at you, bro." Cut to our boy back inside his cabin, casually out of his heavy winter coat because beating up a whole village is apparently light cardio. He starts realizing that the villagers are going to be absolutely furious and will probably try to lowball him during future trades. He plops his coat onto a chair, thinking to himself that it doesn't even matter because he'll just keeps teaching them lessons until they learn to respect the marketplace. As he thinks he finally got some peace and quiet, celebrating that nobody will come knocking anytime soon after that generational beating. But then a massive bang hits the door. Our boy stands there looking at his front door in absolute disbelief, realizing that some people genuinely do not learn their lesson. We close out on a massive gloved fist absolutely whamming on his wooden door. Our boy yanks the door open, fully prepared to crash out on whatever local villager came back for round 2. But instead of a regular NPC, a massive absolute unit of a man is standing there, completely towering over our boy in the doorway. The big guy puts on his best polite voice, asking if a weary traveler can get some hospitality, realizing he might have walked into a bad situation. Our boy is completely caught off guard, hitting him with the blank NPC stare because he really didn't expect a random traveler out here. The traveler apologizes for dropping in unannounced, while our boy explains he literally just had to handle some extremely unwelcome guests. As we see our boy starts overthinking in his head, wondering if his customer service voice was polite enough since he hasn't spoken to civilized people in ages. He looks down and spots a literal high-tier sword strapped to the guy's waist, immediately wondering why a loaded warrior is wandering the middle of nowhere. Our boy tries to direct him to a local inn, but the traveler's stomach hits a massive, loud growl that completely ruins his tough guy aura. Realizing the guy is just down bad for some food, our boy invites him in as the door shuts with a heavy thud. After that we see our boy pulls up with an absolute 5-star feast proving he might be a reclusive wizard, but he is definitely eating good. Our boy serves up a whole feast, humbly downplaying it, while the giant goes full on crazy mode and says he couldn't be more grateful. While eating, the traveler is shook to find out our boy has literally never left this village or met anyone from the outside world. As the traveler chugs down his drink, as our boy explains he's just a simple shepherd who has lived in these hills his entire life. The traveler gives our boy a sneaky side-eye glance, completely suspicious because no normal country kid acts this composed. While our boy is just minding his business, hitting a massive drink, completely oblivious to the suspicion. The traveler randomly drops a very impressive, making our boy freeze mid-drink like, "What the heck?" As the traveler hits a little ahem and points out that for a simple countryside shepherd, our boy's table manners are way too elite. The mood suddenly gets real somber when our boy mentions he owes his manners to his mother, who sadly passed away from an illness a few years back. The big guy instantly softens up, hitting a quick prayer gesture, wishing she rests in peace with the gods for raising such a fine lad. After that, the traveler thanks him again for the unmatched hospitality, while our boy just humbly goes back to cleaning up, saying he's just doing what his mom taught him. We see our boy asks what brings a big shot warrior all the way out to the boonies, and the traveler reveals he's just here to clock in for a job. Our boy is like, "A job?" As the guy explains he heard a dangerous panther monster is terrorizing the area and he's here to delete it. Boom! The traveler drops a massive plot twist, casually adding, "As I am a wizard," and our boy hits him with the ultimate blank stare. Our boy puts 2 and 2 together, realizing this is the exact high-tier wizard the village chief left to go rent from the city. The wizard goes back to his food, deciding it's his turn to ask the questions around here. As the wizard explains that he can literally sense a monster's terrifying energy close by, but the beast is nowhere to be found. He looks right at our boy, getting super suspicious about how unperturbed and relaxed he is despite knowing a monster is loose. Chomping on his food, the wizard points out that a normal shepherd would be an easy snack, asking if our boy even knows what fear is. He keeps going, stating he cannot fathom how a simple country kid can be chilling this hard during a crisis. We see the wizard locks eyes with him, throwing away all the small talk and demanding to know, "Who are you truly?" The gig is officially up. The city wizard knows our boy is built different, and the tension in this room is real. Is our boy about to reveal his true power, or will he keep gaslighting this man? But suddenly a flashback kicks in, and a young version of our boy is completely bewildered, wondering why on earth he has to keep his wizard identity top secret. His mom hits him with the classic fantasy truth bomb, explaining that the world is filled with corrupt bad nobles. As she breaks it down simply, comparing nobles to shepherds and saying, knights are basically just the dogs they keep on a leash. She explains that while these higher-ups might act nice and treat you like family sometimes, but they will absolutely sell you out or exploit you the second it benefits them. As we see the mom, saying she just wants them to live a long, peaceful and happy life together. As she tells him to mark her words. Absolutely nobody can know he's a wizard, especially other wizards who will just kidnap him and turn him into a disposable tool. Back in the present, we see our boy snaps out of the flashback, looking completely unbothered but definitely calculating his next move. The scene wraps up with his mom's final chilling warning echoing in his head, that he might even have to silence permanently anyone who discovers his secret. As the wizard demands an answer with an absolute death stare, and our boy is internally sweating thinking he's forced to choose violence. The wizard stays locked in, waiting for the truth while our boy calculates the exact trajectory to end his career. Boom! Plot twist of the century. We see the wizard suddenly busts out a massive grin and says it was just a prank, bro, telling him to stop looking so serious. Our boy is completely flabbergasted, standing there like, bro really just hit me with a dad joke while his life was flashing before his eyes? As the wizard stands up, completely killing the bad vibe and apologizes for having a completely broken sense of humor. Our boy immediately puts on his best customer service smile, laughing it off and playing along with the wizard's terrible joke. The man reaches out his hand, realizing he forgot the most basic social protocol, introducing himself. He flexes his energy and introduces himself as Karen the Wanderer. Our boy secures the handshake, locked back into his humble NPC mode, and apologizes for his late introduction. He completely locks in his secret identity, introducing himself a totally harmless, everyday country shepherd. As our boy mentions he literally just turned 18 this year, while Karen casually drops that he's 75 years old. Our boy is like, drop the skincare routine, sir. And Karen explains that wizards just age at a glacial pace and live way longer. Our boy asks him how he ended up wandering, and Karen says he finally retired after putting in a 60-year shift for House Erebion. As we see, Karen explains he always wanted to just travel around in his retirement years, and our boy agrees that it sounds like an absolute vibe. As our boy gets all emotional, smiling as he realizes something deep during their little chat. He confesses that he forgot how genuinely nice it feels to just talk to someone who isn't trying to actively plot his demise. Cut to the window, the sun is literally rising and the birds are chirping because they accidentally pulled an all-nighter talking. Karen realizes they talked the entire night away and says it's finally time for him to head out. He slaps down a piece of pure Erebion silver on the table, saying this should definitely cover the bill for his food. We see our boy accepts the tip and wishes him good luck on his hunt, but Karen hits him with a cryptic, "Don't say goodbye just yet, kid." As we see the wizard looks back one last time, completely teasing another visit just to get a taste of our boy's fine cooking again. After that we see a peaceful morning view of the valley as the wind casually blows across the lush green hills. The local sheeps are out here living rent-free, just chewing grass under the clear blue sky. As our boy locks in and drops a single command, telling his fluffy army to gather, the sheep instantly execute a dramatic head turn like they just heard a packet of chips opening. They immediately start rushing back to him because his aura is honestly just built different. Our boy gets a bit introspective, thinking about how he's never met another wizard before and forgot how nice it is to have a normal convo. He gently pats a sheep on the head, realizing that Karen is genuinely a rare, kind-hearted soul in this chaotic world. We get a flashback of Karen pulling up to the door with a defeated monster on his back, smiling like an absolute legend. Our boy marches on with his perfectly organized herd, admitting he always thought high-ranking knights were just mindless hounds serving arrogant nobles. After that we see our boy is looking up at the beautiful weather, sweating a little because he just realized something kind of awkward. He's basically wondering how on earth he's supposed to tell Karen that the big scary monster he's looking for literally isn't there anymore. Meanwhile, out in the foggy woods, Karen stops dead in his tracks because something is completely off. He looks down at a bunch of wrecked tree stumps and realizes there are clear traces of a massive battle, but the monster is missing. As he stares at a massive tree, completely baffled, asking himself if some random powerhouse already came through and slayed it, he spots a glowing mana stone left behind on a stump and wonders if another wizard stealthily secured the bag before him. But being the wholesome guy he is, Karen just chuckles and thinks, hey, as long as it can't hurt anyone else, we take those wins. Boom! Suddenly his eyes go wide in absolute shock as a massive sweat drops from his face. He whips his head around so fast he almost gets whiplash because a terrifying presence just snuck up on him. But out of nowhere, a massive creepy dark claw with a glowing yellow eye starts dripping black aura right behind him. As we see, Karen is standing right in front of a giant terrifying demon beast that our boy cooked earlier ago, realizing it's actually the monster's evil spirit. He is completely stressed out, wondering who on earth would let a monster turn into a nightmare-fuel beast like this. The giant shadow claw instantly drops from the sky to hit Karen with a devastating smash attack. Boom! The claw hits the ground, causing a massive explosion of light dirt and debris as Karen barely clears the blast zone. While mid-air, Karen drops some lore explaining that when you kill a monster you have to absorb the remaining mana from its carcass, or else it turns into an evil spirit. As he pulls off a flawless gymnastics escape, flying through the air to put some distance between him and the beast. Hanging upside down like a bat, he's totally certain a wizard did the deed, but can't wrap his head around why they just left it to rot. We see he lands smoothly on his feet across from the dark beast, thinking that an inexperienced knight could never have soloed a raid boss of this caliber. Oh boy, Karen channels his inner Goku, charging a Kamehameha, gathering a massive glowing yellow ball of energy between his hands. He locks in with 100% aura coated in yellow lightning, declaring that whatever the case may be, he's about to take this thing down. As we see, Karen finally fires off his massive yellow laser beam, praying it completely disintegrates the enemy. Boom! The blast hits the monster right in the face, causing a massive flash, but the beast doesn't even look phased. Karen is completely sweating bullets, realizing the evil spirit literally just deleted his best spell from the server. He looks down in absolute shock because the entire giant monster just vanished into thin air. As he whips his head around looking for where it went, realizing the beast is actually using stealth mechanics against him. But suddenly a creepy puddle of black goo starts bubbling and gurgling right under his boots. Boom! Out of nowhere, a massive shadowy claw sprouts right out of his own shadow like an absolute jump scare. As we see, Karen gets violently slapped across the face, taking massive emotional and physical damage. Bleeding out and losing his aura fast, Karen realizes he's way below the level cap for this area and needs a high-ranking noble to carry him. He gets launched through the air like a ragdoll, completely dripping blood and desperately trying to find an escape route. We see Karen is down on the ground, huffing and puffing, deeply regretting wandering into these remote mountains today. The giant shadow monster looms over him like a massive bill he can't pay, and Karen literally thinks it's game over. He continues to gasp for air, completely exhausted and pushed to his absolute limits. But suddenly bro locks in, grits his teeth and decides if he's getting banned from the server, he's taking the beast down with him. He channels his final remaining mana reserves directly into his right hand, preparing a fiery last-ditch counterattack. The terrifying shadow beast drops its massive claw from above, aiming to completely crush him into the dirt. With pure determination on his face, Karen readies his explosive fist, waiting for the absolute perfect moment to strike. We see he leaps right at the monster in a final cinematic clash, ready to see who has the strongest aura. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a massive flash of blue light pierces through the darkness like a literal cheat code. Boom! A gigantic glowing blue sword slash completely steals Karen's kill, proving our boy has finally arrived to carry the team. As Karen looks up in absolute shock, wondering who just dropped a nuke on his problems, we see the massive shadow monster hits the floor completely cooked, proving that our boy's damage scaling is simply built different. The man finally processes that he's still alive, staring at his literal savior. Our boy pulls back his weapon with maximum aura, looking incredibly clean and completely unfazed by the threat level. As we see Karen puts 2 and 2 together and finally realizes our boy is actually a high-tier wizard who has been sandbagging this whole time. He wants to know why our boy kept his build a secret and didn't drop a hint about his overpowered stats earlier. As he drops the ultimate question, asking why our boy even bothered to press the assist button when he easily could have minded his own business. Well, we see a flashback of the cozy cabin hangout, where they are resetting their health points by the fire while a massive wolfskin just chills on the floor. Our boy listens closely as the man points out that whatever side quest reward the village chief promised simply isn't worth going through all this intense trouble. We see Karen starts getting all deep and emotional, admitting he fully understands the absolute terror the locals are dealing with. He tells our boy that living out in the middle of nowhere with zero protection is a nightmare, but reassures him it's definitely not his fault. He goes on a whole monologue about how wizards are blessed by the gods, so they're basically obligated to protect the helpless. As he smiles, dropping the classic line that everyone is entitled to make their own choices in life. Close up on a smug smirk, because someone is about to weaponize those exact words right back at him. Back to the present. Our boy hits him with a dazzling main character smile, basically saying, "So I'm allowed to choose to carry you through this raid, right?" Boom! Cut back to reality where a massive shockwave erupts, reminding them that a literal boss monster is still around the chat. As Karen skids backward in pure panic, screaming at our boy to listen up because this monster's power level is way too high for them. He claims only elite pay-to-win whales with noble blood can slay it, and orders our boy to run away and evacuate the village. He activates his fiery fist and steps up to tank the giant, glowing green-eyed shadow beast, completely unaware that our boy has literal cheat codes. Like, bro, Karen is out here flexing his fire fist but low-key admitting to himself that he talked a big game and has absolutely no idea how long he can actually survive. Our boy just looks back completely nonchalant and tells him they're going to be totally fine, leaving the man stressed and utterly confused. He casually floats a massive boulder with telekinesis like it's a minor inconvenience, saying everything is fine as long as his previous attack actually landed. As Karen looks at him side-eyeing, trying to figure out if our boy is just built different or if he's simply trolling by pretending that wasn't even his full power. Bro's eyes go wide as he suffers an immediate reality check, realizing this kid he found in a random remote village is absolutely not a normal shepherd. We see massive chunks of rock start floating all over the place, proving he isn't some basic rogue knight running away from high society problems. Our boy stands there radiating straight black Air Force energy, surrounded by a massive blue aura that screams, "Overpowered max-level wizard." As Karen finally accepts that this kid is powerful enough to bring the whole world to its knees, while our boy just hits him with a smug smile ready to test his limits on this poor boss monster. The hype is real, guys. Karen thought he was the one doing the carrying, but our boy is about to put on an absolute masterclass. Is this monster getting one shot, or is it going to require 2% of his power?